Just in time, they're really ramping up the fear for three different, very frightening diseases, Michael Snyder reports. Why are there suddenly so many stories about deadly diseases in the news? We're just a little over 2 months away from November, and so this is a perfect time to deeply alarm the general public about a coming health crisis, right? But this time around, this is not just one major disease that's making news, and as you see below, people are freaking out about three different, very frightening diseases. Of course, when people are afraid that they might die from something extremely deadly outbreak, they're far more likely to accept measures that they would usually not even consider during normal times. In the Northeast, there is a tremendous amount of concern about the Eastern equine encephalitis virus right now. People in Massachusetts have been instructed to limit their time outdoors. Can you imagine? Due to a confirmed case in the state, and now confirmed cases have appeared in Vermont and New Hampshire. Last week, it was reported that an 80-year-old man in Massachusetts tested positive for the rare virus sparking public health concerns. Officials then discovered the disease in mosquitoes across the state and warned residents to limit their time outdoors. The virus then started appearing in neighboring states, with cases popping up in Vermont and New Hampshire, where the unidentified victim was pronounced dead. It's being reported that the virus has also been found in horses in 8 New York counties. So this virus is already in at least 4 different states, and that's not good news at all because it has a very high death rate in humans. Can you imagine? Approximately 30% of those infected with the virus die, and those who survive are often left with neurological problems. There are no vaccines or medicines to treat or prevent the disease. Usually, cases of Eastern equine encephalitis are quite rare, but if hundreds of people start dying from catching this virus in the months ahead, we're going to see extreme panic. Due to fears of people, usually cases of Eastern equine encephalitis are rare. Due to the fears of Eastern equine encephalitis and an outbreak of West Nile virus, New York City is preparing to spray pesticides to help prevent the spread of mosquitoes. New York City is planning to spray pesticides to help prevent the spread of mosquitoes and potential diseases. The announcement comes days after Dr. Anthony Fauci, former National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease Director and the government's top infectious disease official during the pandemic, was hospitalized with West Nile virus. Dr. Fauci, 83, spent around a week in the hospital after developing fever, chills, and severe fatigue. He believes he contracted West Nile in the backyard of his Washington, D.C. home and is expected to make a full recovery, CBS News chief medical correspondent Dr. Jonathan Lapook tweeted on Saturday. So now the entire Big Apple is going to be doused with dangerous chemicals in a desperate attempt to kill the mosquitoes that are carrying these diseases. So if you live in New York City, now may be a good time to take a vacation. Meanwhile, scientists are warning that the new monkeypox strain is mutating faster than they anticipated. Scientists studying the new Mpox strain that has spread out of Democratic Republic of Congo say the virus is changing faster than expected, and often in areas where experts lack the funding and equipment to properly track it. That means there are numerous unknowns about the virus itself, its severity, and how it is transmitting, complicating the response, half a dozen scientists in Africa, Europe, and the United States told Reuters. So far, they have had no luck fighting the outbreak that is absolutely ravaging the Democratic Republic of Congo. Sadly, the number of cases and the total death toll both continue to rise. Congo has had more than 18,000 suspected Mpox cases and 615 deaths this year, according to the World Health Organization, WHO, which declared an Mpox health emergency this month after a new variant called Clade 1b emerged. There have now been confirmed cases in several neighboring countries, and travelers have brought it to Europe and Asia. In 2022, the strain of monkeypox, that was being spread by sexual contact rapidly spread all over the globe. Apparently, this new strain often spreads without any sexual contact at all, and we're being told that the children are being infected in very large numbers. Children in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo are worse affected by the current outbreak of Mpox, which has been declared a public health emergency of international concern by the World Health Organization. The country accounts for nearly all of this year's recorded cases and more than 450 deaths. It began like a small inflamed spot. The mother squeezed it and watery discharge came out. Then another developed, and after a short period they were all over the body, says Alain Matabaro, describing how Mpox developed in his 6-year-old son Amani. At this point, the experts do not fully understand why so many children are being infected. One theory that is being proposed is that it's because children have less developed immune systems. Some 75% of the cases being seen by medics there are under the age of 10, according to Dr. Pierre-Olivier Gadjole, who works for the charity MedAir. Young people seem to be particularly badly affected by Mpox outbreak because of their less developed immune systems. If this new strain of monkeypox starts infecting children all over the Western world, there will be a widespread panic and we'll likely see very harsh lockdowns. And speaking of that, it's being reported that a school in Alabama and a school in Tennessee were just temporarily shut down because too many kids were catching COVID. Schools in 2 states experiencing a rise in COVID cases announced that they were closing facilities and switching to remote learning. Alabama and Tennessee announced the closure of 2 schools affecting more than 1,000 children. Just days into the new academic year, with officials saying the virus had forced them to shut and carry out a deep clean. At one of the schools, children had to abandon their desks and revert to remote learning for 2 days, a move reminiscent of the early days of COVID. So why is this happening? I thought that we agreed that we're not going to do this anymore. Right now, there are lots of news stories about how COVID is making a major comeback, but most Americans are not buying this. By now, just about everyone understands that it has an extremely low death rate. However, it is just a matter of time before a horrifying worldwide pandemic that has a very high death rate comes along. And when that day arrives, the panic that we have seen during the past several years will pale in comparison to what we will witness. This is by Michael Snyder on End of the American Dream. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. This is by Michael Snyder. About the author, Michael Snyder's extremely controversial new book entitled Chaos is available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 7 other books that are available on Amazon, including End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and The Most Important News, and he always freely and happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.